Let's pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the office of leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you've been pleased to call for the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled. Grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you committed to our charge. Amen. Honorable members, I refer you to our standing order number 32.2 on quorum when the chair takes the seat, and I want to direct that the sergeant at arms rings the quorum bell for 5 minutes. When the quorum bell is being rung, no member will leave the house except the whip, who may whip members so that we have the quorum. It's ironical that I'm not able to support the leader of majority, I'm not able to support the whip, I'm not able to support the deputy leader of majority, I'm not able to support the deputy whip. But I'm seeing Rabadega is seated on the chair of leader of majority. Did he mandate you?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
So can you confirm on behalf of the members if you have quorum?
Yes, I can confirm we have the majority, Mr. Speaker. We have the quorum.
Rabadega is right, because quorum is less than majority. So if you have the majority, it means we have more than a quorum. So clerk, take us through the order of the day.
Third Assembly, third session, supplementary order paper number 177B of today, Wednesday, 8th May 2024 at 2:30 p.m. Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I have a communication to make. In the gallery, we have a number of visitors, honorable members, of which I would like to draw your attention. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to students from our local universities who are in the County Assembly Department of Communication to gain valuable experience through international attachment. These are Steve Ojiambo from Maseno University pursuing degree in Communication and Media. There is Mercy Ojuki from Moi University, who is pursuing a degree in Linguistic Media and Communication. We have got Jackton Obonyo from Moi University pursuing degree in English. And Isaiah Otieno from Masinde Muliro University pursuing a degree in criminology. I trust their time here will be both informative and rewarding, and this attachment offers a unique opportunity for them to witness firsthand the workings of our county assembly. Beyond the academic pursuits, I hope their experience ignites a passion for active citizenship and a commitment to our community's development. I want to welcome you all to the county assembly. May I also recognize in the gallery the presence of Mr. Peter Gurmak. Peter Gurmak is the contractor for Play Action International. I think there is a time we had some visitors here on Play Action who are to do a number of early childhood development centers in different wards alongside play stations for children. So he's here, I think he's in his way to Baby Pendo Park, where they are going to establish children's play center. So we welcome you. Feel welcome. Honorable members, I see like Honorable Badega has requested me that he want to say something because I think he's in the forefront in organizing the same. So 1 minute, Honorable Badega.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to echo my sentiment. Mr. Peter Gurmak, feel free. Welcome to Kisumu County Assembly. This is where we represent our people from down there. And also, I want to confirm to the members, you remember just 1 week ago, we were in the United Kingdom, and the fruits have already started coming. Peter landed today in Kisumu, and he has already took his fundis and handlers at Canon Nyongo ECD, where the groundbreaking will be done tomorrow. Immediately after that, he will inspect Masogo Nyangoma Ward, where the Green Park Tech also will take place for inspection tomorrow. And today, after this session, we are going to inspect Baby Pendo Park, where the outdoor learning for our young kids will be doing some of their activities. Welcome, Peter, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. Also, I confirm to members, Peter, we have 35 wards in Kisumu County Assembly, and we have 47 members. 12 nominated, 35 elected, and I'm assuring to our members all wards will benefit from this initiative. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I want to give 3 members. That is 1 member to talk to the students on attachment. That is Honorable Benny Peto Iko. These are students on attachment, and you realize that we get a big number of students on attachment. So I'll give 2 minutes to Honorable Benny to talk to the students on attachment. Then, which word is Baby Pendo? Is it Market Mlimani or Kaliloni Shorimoyo? So I'll give Kaliloni Shorimoyo 1 minute, and Masoko Nyangoma is Honorable Abil Nyasona. I'm not able to see Honorable Abil Nyasona, but his neighbor is who? Udari is the neighbor.
Sir, he said he's on the way, and the water and mud is too much on the way.
Okay.
The vehicle is stuck.
Then how did Udari manage to pass Nyakoma to this place and leaving Abil behind? Udari, you should tell.
Thank you very much.
So start, you proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I'm staying in town, not since the rain started, I decided to come to stay in town. So let me just take this opportunity on behalf of my colleague, Honorable Abil, to welcome all the students and our visitor. Feel most welcome. We are happy. Thank you very much.
I'm Honorable Karen Odhiambo, MCA representing Shaurimoyo Kaloleni Ward. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you. Mr. Peter will work with you, will give you maximum cooperation, and once again, welcome.
Benny Pete.
Mr. Speaker, it is good that Kisumu County Assembly offers our students every year chance to come do their attachment. This is a good gesture, Mr. Speaker. When they come here from different faculties, which is also relevant because assembly may be seen as political wing. But what you should know, I've heard of people doing linguistic. That is also very important in this assembly. The language to be used when we are in the assembly, very critical. And you will get the practical aspect of your profession, the one you are doing at the university, when you come here. Like those who are doing languages, here, we are supposed to be using 2 languages, that is English and Kiswahili, and which is very important. And in this part of the country, the important language that we use is English. So I hope you will be monitoring the way we talk in English, how eloquent we are, and to some extent, you may also coach us on how fluent we should be. And another thing you should know, young men and girls, in this assembly, this is politics, but politics embraces everything in the society. Politics embraces everything in the society. The sciences, the arts, the maths, all are very important in this house. Today, we have a report to handle before us today, which is an audited report on finances of Kisumu County. That will call upon us to have some little knowledge on finances. Then at another level, we have a petition which will require us to have some little knowledge on law. So that is how vast the assembly is. We embrace all the fields on this earth. And very critical, when we are mixed up, mathematicians, scientists, the lawyers, the debate becomes very lively. Just have that picture of debate when you are in high school and when you are at the university. That is the kind of situation we have in this house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No, you gave me only 2 minutes, and I don't want to consume a lot of time. I will interfere with the program of the plenary. Feel welcome, and when you go back, you will have a good picture of what politics is. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Benny Pete, for the good talk to the students doing attachment, except that you need to refer yourself to Standing Order number 76-1. The languages that you use in the Kisumu County Assembly are 3, as per the Standing Order number 76-1. It is Kiswahili, English, and Kenyan Sign Language. So there are 3, not 2. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
The Honorable Leader of Majority.
With your kind permission, Mr. Speaker, may I lay a paper on behalf of Majority Leader? Thank you. Pursuant to the provision section 7 of the Public Appointment Act, County Assemblies, Act number 5 of 2017, I wish to table today, Wednesday, on behalf of Majority Leader, 8th May 2024, nomination of Mr. Jeremy Okoth Ochieng to the position of County Executive Committee Member for Lands, Physical Planning, Housing, and Urban Development. Thank you.
Honorable members, the nomination of the Executive Committee Member for Lands, Physical Planning, Housing, and Urban Development, Mr. Jerome Okoth Ochieng, is properly laid before the House, and I want to direct that the Appointment Committee considers this nomination for vetting in line with our standing order and the Approvals Act, which provides for 21 days from the date of laying it in the table of the Assembly. So it means the date starts counting from now. So the clerk will make necessary arrangements for the advertisement or setting of a date for the public to give their views. The appointment committee are also directed, of which I'm the chair, to prepare a schedule through which that vetting will take place. But the time frame is 21 days, failure to which it is assumed that the Assembly has approved the nominee of the governor. Next. Next order, clerk.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
It is statement time.
Commencement of business. Motion on the adoption of a report of PICPA Committee on examination of the Auditor General's report and financial statements of Kisumu County Trade Fund for the financial year 2020-2021 by the Honorable Kennedy Ouko.
Honorable Kennedy Ouko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I move the motion, I would like to remind my colleagues that we are going to use the moving notes. And the detailed motion is escalated in your wall. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Public Accounts and Investment Committee, and pursuant to the Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders 188, I wish to present to this House the report of the Committee on the audited financial statement of Kisumu County Trade Fund, financial year 2020-2021. The County Assembly exercises oversight role over county government entities or investments and their expenditure pursuant to Article 185.3 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 through the Public Accounts and Investment Committee, which in turn derives its mandate from the County Assembly Standing Orders. It is instructive that Article 229.8 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 requires the County Assembly within 3 months after receiving an audit report to debate, consider the report and take appropriate action. The committee held 2 sittings during which it received both written and oral evidence from the accounting officer on audit queries raised by the Auditor General on the financial statement of Kisumu County Trade Fund, financial year 2020-2021. Honorable Speaker, I wish to register my appreciation to fellow honorable members of the committee, the Office of the Speaker, the Clerk of the Assembly Committee Secretariat, and the Office of the Auditor General for the facilitation and technical support that made the production of this report possible. I'm immensely grateful for the invaluable support extended to us by the National Democratic Institute. Their provision of conference facility during our report writing exercises has significantly enhanced our ability to conduct our duties effectively and efficiently. The unwavering commitment and generosity demonstrated by the National Democratic Institute underscore their dedication to promoting transparency, accountability, and good governance within our assembly, the broader community. We extend our heartfelt appreciation to the National Democratic Institute for their partnership and steadfast support, which have undoubtedly contributed to the success of our endeavor. Special appreciation goes to the Hansard Department for ensuring that all our meetings with accounting officers are broadcasted live. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Public Accounts and Investment Committee, I now wish to table the report on the consideration of Auditor General's report on the financial statement of Kisumu County Trade Fund, financial year 2020-2021, and urge this House, Honorable House, to adopt it. 3.0, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Kisumu County Trade Fund for the year ended 30th June 2021. Honorable Speaker, Mr. Bovin Soching, the accounting officer, appeared before the committee to adduce evidence on the audited financial statement of Kisumu County Trade Fund, financial year 2020-2021. The following officers represented the Office of the Auditor General in the meeting of 11th April 2024. 1, Gilbert Umogi, Office of the Auditor General. Margaret Mwagi, Office of the Auditor General. Basis for advance opinion. Honorable Speaker, the Auditor General gave an adverse opinion to the financial statement of Kisumu County Trade Fund for the year 2020-2021, implying that the financial statement did not represent a true and a fair view of the finance position of the fund. The following issues raised by the Auditor General form the basis of adverse opinion. 1, inaccuracies in prior year comparative balances. 2, unsupported cash and cash equivalents. 3, unsupported current portions of long-term receivables from exchange transaction. 4, unsupported interest income. 5, lack of internal audit function and an audit committee of the board. Honorable Speaker, having considered the written response from the management of Kisumu County Trade Fund, and having held a meeting with the management and the Office of the Auditor General, the committee makes the following observations. 4.0, summary of the committee observations. 1, that the figures that were recorded in the financial statement as comparative balances were not the true figures recorded in the financial statement for the year 2019-2020. Remember, we were talking about 2020-2021. So comparatively, they were not matching. 2, that the management did not prepare the financial statement for the fund for the financial year 2021, 2022, 2022, 2023. This is in contravention of Section 167(1) and 3 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which mandates an administrator of the county public fund to prepare financial statement for the fund and submit the same to the Auditor General and the County Executive Committee member for finance within 3 months after the end of the financial year. 3, that the management failed to provide cash book, bank reconciliation statements at the time of audit, contrary to Section 62C of the Public Audit Act 2015, which states that, which stipulates for timely provision of information required by the auditor. 4, that as the time of committee deliberations, the bank reconciliation statements and cash book had been provided to the auditors. 5, that the management failed to provide loan repayment ledger at the time of audit to support long-term receivables from the exchange transactions amounting to Kenya shillings 7,729,317. This is contrary to Section 62C of the Audit Act 2015 on timely provision of information required by the auditor. 6, that at the time of committee deliberations, the loan repayment ledgers had been provided and verified by the auditors. 7, that the management failed to adhere to Section 155(1)(a) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which requires a country government entity to have an appropriate arrangements for conducting internal audit according to the guideline issued by the Accounting Standard Board. 8, that the management failed to provide evidence of being served by the county internal audit services office during the time of audit and committee deliberations. Summary of recommendations. 1, that the management prepare and submit to the Office of the Auditor General the financial statement for the fund for the year 2021, 2022, and 2022, 2023. And the evidence of the same be submitted to the Assembly within a period of 6 days upon adoption of this report. 2, that going forward, the management must adhere to Section 167(1) and 3 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which mandates the administrator of the county public fund to prepare financial statement for the fund and submit the same to the Auditor General and the County Executive Committee member for the finance within 3 months after the end of the financial year. 3, that going forward, the management must adhere to Section 62C of the Public Audit Act 2015, which requires timely provision of information required by the auditors. 4, that the management immediately ensure compliance with Section 155(1)(a) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which requires a county government entity to have appropriate arrangement for conducting internal audit according to the guideline issued by the Accounting Standard Board and provide evidence on the same to the auditors during the time of audit. Mr. Speaker, for that I hereby request that the House adopt this report of the Public Accounts and Investment Committee on the consideration of Auditor General's report on the financial statements of the Kisumu County Trade Fund for the year ended 30th June 2021. May I call upon Honorable James Were to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first of all, let me take this opportunity to thank this committee for having come with a good report on the the audit report on the trade fund. Mr. Speaker, if you go through that report, you find that it was adversely mentioned by the Office of the Auditor General. And Mr. Speaker, this adverse opinion came because of some few things that they did not do right, that they have to do right. Mr. Speaker, there are claims, according to the report, that there were unsupported cash and cash equivalents. This came as a result of non-compliance. Mr. Speaker, there were failures in providing bank statements and bank reconciliation statements, of which formed the part of the duty of the people that were in charge. Mr. Speaker, also it was mentioned that there was lack of internal audit team, which they must ensure that is in place. And if it is in place, they must ensure that they utilize their internal audit so that they can go through the records before those documents and statements are handed over to the Office of Auditor General. Mr. Speaker, there is some of the recommendations that were made by the committee that there must be strict adherence to the PFM Act 2012. If that is done, Mr. Speaker, I think we are going to have a cure, and we are going to ensure that there is prudent management of public funds. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I beg to second. Thank you.
Honorable members, now that the chairperson, Pick Pack Committee, Honorable Kennedy Ouko, has moved a motion, the adoption of a report of the Pick Pack Committee on examination of the Auditor General's report and financial statements of Kisumu County Trade Fund for the year 2020-2021. As per our standing orders, I want to propose a question. And I propose that the motion is open for debate. Honorable Tom Nyaoke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand here to support the adoption of this report, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we do agree with the committee for having made very sound observations, and the committee went ahead to give explicitly sound recommendations that they feel if done, then we are going to do some justice in the way we manage our finances, Mr. Speaker, in the county. Mr. Speaker, the PFM Act 2012 properly guides the persons which are who are given the responsibility of handling our finances, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, it all talks about proper use of these finances, from the accounting, budgeting, and even putting into use the finances that has been put on their hands, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is one fundamental observation that was made by the committee. One of those observations, Mr. Speaker, that is worthy bringing to the attention of the members, and that is why I call upon the members to help support this motion so that we can be able to move forward. From my gadget, it is page 13, the observation in page 13, which says that the management failed to adhere to section 155, part 1A of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which requires a county government entity to have appropriate arrangements for conducting internal audit according to the guidelines issued by the Accounting Standards Board. Mr. Speaker, we do agree that we have our internal auditors. And Mr. Speaker, I believe that before we put them in office, there are people, men and women, who do understand exactly what they are supposed and what their job entails, Mr. Speaker. I'm happy the committee has brought this to their attention, and I believe that going forward, just the same way they have stated in their report, that they need to follow the procurement rules. I mean, the PFM Act 2012, as is stipulated properly and giving the guidelines on what they are supposed to do, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, part 2 of that observation says that the management failed to provide evidence of being served by the County Internal Audit Services Office during the time of the audit and committee observations. Mr. Speaker, going forward, we need to put a culture of being serious in everything that each person is supposed to be doing in this county, Mr. Speaker. There is no any other responsibility that we give to these internal auditors, apart from making sure that they follow the laid down guidelines to let us do exactly what they are supposed to do, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, after that good observation, the committee has gone ahead to give the recommendations on what they feel should be rectified so that we come to the agreement, and then we don't expect to see such kind of great malpractices in the next report, Mr. Speaker. I therefore call upon my fellow members that failure to adopt this report may as well result to even other similar reports coming forward, Mr. Speaker. I therefore support the adoption of this report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. First of all, let me take the opportunity to thank the committee. Actually, PICPAC has been one of the committees which gives an accurate information of what is expected. Department of Trade, Tourism, it was expected that this was going to be a fund that was going to directly impact on the voters of Kisumu County. And the amount that was given was to be, it was a revolving fund. And we expected that the amount that was given in the first 2 years, that is 2019, 2020, and 2020, 2021, was a revolving fund, and it was given out as a loan. And we expected that those who took the loan were to be put on toes to give back, to repay back the amount. During our engagement and deliberations with the department and the fund administrator, we realized that the amount that was given, which was not even supported, that the only amount that is there in their bank balances right now is 2 million. That is out of 15 million for the 2 years. Then if you look at the first issue, which is inaccuracies, and that will even give you the reason why the department and the fund manager have failed to give the financial statements for the last 2 years. And I want to believe that is a contravention of the law, since I cannot remember when the department and the office was vacant, why they did not prepare the financial statement and shared it with the Office of the Auditor General and to the Assembly. Mr. Speaker, there were so many transactions that were taking place, and most of them were unsupported transactions. And I was going through them, and I realized that even the records that were given, some were just manufactured for the purposes of auditing only. And if you talk about prudence, openness, and accountability, and using the public funds responsibly, if these transactions cannot be supported, if you don't have the supporting schedules, then I guess we can talk of a smoking gun in that fund. Mr. Speaker, there is also lack of involvement of internal auditors and audit committee of the board. I was looking at that and wondering why we've been complaining so much about the wage bill being too high, and there are people who have been employed as auditors and they are not doing their work as expected. If this is going to continue and take place, Mr. Speaker, then I guess we are going to see more of these cases where we cannot even account for the monies that have been given out to help our traders. I'm usually not a fan of going forward. Before we go forward, Mr. Speaker, we really need to unearth what happened with this fund and come up with the causes and reasons why we can still allocate some funds to this department. Otherwise, I believe the members have gone through this report and they are going to adopt it, and how I implore the House that the recommendations that have been given are so proactive. Let us implement them and at least take this as an example to avoid mismanagement of other funds from the county. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I support.
Honorable Beni Pete.
Mr. Speaker, this is an audited report on trade fund. Just as has been echoed by the Vice Chair, this is money meant to be given to the traders to empower them economically, and then they pay back to the county kitty. And from his explanation, he's telling us for the last 2 financial years, that could be 2019-2020, 2020-2021, the records were not properly handled. That is the message. It's about 15 million. By the time of the audit report, about 2 million is what is in the account. And the auditor has given an advance report implying that money was not properly used. The records were not properly kept. What picture is this? The picture is this. It could be assumed that there is misappropriation of funds. And it's echoing to us that the beneficiaries of this fund, the records can hardly be found from the department. In the event that that kind of record is not there, Mr. Speaker, the department stands accused of not putting public money into proper use. And one thing that the committee is not coming out strongly on when they are handling audited account is to forward the report to the next government institution that is supposed to take action. And these government institutions are the Ethics Anti-Corruption, to do further investigation and take action. The Director Criminal Investigation, to do further investigation if there is problem with management. That is where the Assembly stands. The Assembly should not just give sweeping recommendations, sweeping observations, because the sweeping observations recommendations will not correct the mess that has been done. The officers that have the powers to pinpoint the mistakes that have been done, when the office of the auditor has presented this kind of report to the assembly, the committee has interrogated and agreed with the position of the auditor general, we forward it ahead. And that must be very clear to this house. Like in this case, the report is an adverse one. As echoed, the records are not there to be followed. And this is a financial record of 2020-2021. The committee is also lamenting about the record of 2021-2022, 2022-2023. Why do you remain on those records in this financial year? Those are records that should be demanded separately from the department to avail. And if they cannot avail those records, then they should be forwarded to Ethics and Corruption for further investigation. Because if money was there and was given to the department to disburse to the traders, which they did, and they are not able to provide the records for audit, the assembly has no business beating about the bush. We simply recommend to the Ethics and Corruption, we see if it is management problem, to Director of Criminal Investigation. And with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, this report, if this assembly is serious on its oversight role, if the assembly is serious on its oversight role, today, this report should be committed to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption for further investigation. I so submit.
Honorable Benny, you know, as per our rules of the House, you either support a document, you either support a motion, or reject, or you decide to abstain. So you make it a practice that you declare whether you are supporting a motion, or you are rejecting, or you are abstaining. I can see silence, meaning maybe all the members who wanted to debate have debated. So I think the mover can reply. Honorable Ken Ouko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much. We have issues here to dispense with. One, may I remind all the members in the Assembly that we have brought this report here. If you feel there is somewhere to make an amendment, you propose an amendment and we make it. Instead of lamenting, I've always been warning you here that when you are here, let us stop lamenting. Instead, let us do our role by amending any section you feel is not suitable and you feel is appropriate to be done. That is one thing. Secondly, we have what is called PMF Act. PMF Act 2012. Regulation 15 concerning County Government Act. We always work within the law. We don't just come up with our thinking. We are guided by law. There are guiding principles and the Constitution of Kenya, which is very clear. Kindly, please, members, go and read that. It will help us a lot when we are contributing in the House. Now, during the audit process, we have a time of management later. This is the time the management is given opportunity to respond to issues highlighted in the audited report. And if they fail to do this, within this period of time and the audited report is published, it is not allowed to be amended. But you are also given some leeway. You can get your reports back to the probably the Auditor General, and when you are in the Assembly, you are allowed to submit some more reports. So if in our report, you can read that we got some information from the Auditor General that they submitted some reports, and some were also submitted in the committee. So, but it cannot change the auditor's opinion. It will only help for the management on making some changes on our recommendations. So that is also there. We also talked about internal control mechanism. Any organization or any entity must have internal control mechanism. One of the internal control mechanisms we are expecting from a fund manager and a fund entity running a fund from the county government is the audit committee. They will not understand what is happening without that kind of, and it is a requirement of law. We stated very clearly what is expected of them. We are reminding them. We are talking about 2021, 2022, 2021, 2022 financial statements. You know, reporting of a financial position of an entity is a requirement of law. It is not for the House or for the members of the County Assembly. It is a requirement of law. This is why we instructed, in fact it was conditional, that they report within 60 days. They do the reports, they do the financial statement for 2021, 2022, 2023, and they report within 60 days after adoption of this report. So we are not just trying to deal with these people with the gloves. We were following the rules and regulations and the Constitution of Kenya. More so 2015, 2012 PMF Act and Regulation 2015, which is for the county government, not national government. We still have a lot of observations there to put forward. But, we will not be taking this report direct or passing this report without coming to you people. Kindly, please, we appreciate you a lot. We know your concern. This is a concern of everybody. It is not only for our committee. I really commend you. Thank you very much for contributing into this. This is an oversight committee just like others, but it is more on financial matters of the Assembly. We really commend you. We are happy with your submissions as much as you are probably erring or getting good recommendations. But I finally would like to urge members, please, if you have any amendments, feel free to make that amendment. That is why we are bringing this report to the House. With those few replies, I beg to reply. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, now that the motion adoption of report of the Pickback Committee on examination of the Auditor General's report and the financial statements of Kisumu County Trade Fund for the year 2020-2021 has been moved, seconded, debated. I want to put a question, and I put as many of the opinion that the motion adoption of a report of the Pickback Committee on examination of the Auditor General's report and the financial statements of Kisumu County Trade Fund for the year 2020-2021 be adopted. Say aye. As many of the contrary opinions say nay. The ayes have it. And the motion adoption of a report of Pickback Committee on the examination of the Auditor General's report and the financial statements of Kisumu County Trade Fund for the financial year 2020-2021 is adopted today, Wednesday, the 8th of May, 2024 at 15:25 hours. And I want to direct that the recommendation be committed to the right departments for action. Next order, clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable members. There's no other business to be transacted in the order paper.
members, you can be upstanding. The House stands adjourned until tomorrow, the 9th of May, 2024 at 2:30 p.m.